When you spend your life, every tear, every fight, every stretch of hope on trying to build something with someone, breaking away is never clean. And when that someone is Vanessa, and that something was a marriage, a promise, a family, well, the fallout reverberates louder. So now, in the wake of breaking up with Vanessa, Colt finds himself living with his ex's best friend's parents. Yes, Cortney's parents. And yes, that's messy. Welcome to the latest chapter in reality love gone sideways. The breakup. If you've been following 90 Day Fiancé, you know how intense the storm was between Colt and Vanessa. From cultural clashes to communication breakdowns, from jealousy spirals to power struggles, it was a minefield. They came together as two people who loved each other and believed they could overcome anything. But love, no matter how strong, often requires more than belief. It requires mutual growth, honest vulnerability, empathy. Somewhere along the way, they lost the map. The split came after a series of confrontations, things said in anger, promises made and broken. Vanessa, exhausted from feeling unheard. Colt, frustrated from feeling boxed in. They reached a point where staying meant losing more of themselves, so they separated emotionally first. Legally maybe later, but certainly practically. And in the aftermath, Colt needed somewhere to land. 2. Cortney's parents, the unexpected safe harbor. Enter Cortney, the girlfriend/friend/ally always standing in the wings. Cortney is Vanessa's friend, or maybe ex, someone who's known Colt enough. Cortney's parents are generous-hearted people. They see in Colt a hurting man who's made mistakes, yes, but also someone trying to pick up the pieces. So, they opened their home. They said, if you need to stay for a while, you can stay here. And Colt, with nowhere else good to go, except maybe back to Vanessa, which wasn't an option, accepted. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't ideal, but it was safer than homeless. It was warmer than the silence of his own regrets. 3. The house, walls that here. Imagine walking into a house that's not yours. Every shelf, every couch, every scented candle reminds you, these aren't your belongings. The pictures on the wall, family portraits, wedding albums, graduation photos. You try not to touch things. You try to stay small. But grief, heartbreak, the weight of loss, it spreads through the air. No matter how carefully you tiptoe. Colt occupies a spare bedroom, a window overlooking the driveway, standard issues, a squeaky bed, a single lamp, a dresser drawer that creaks. You'd think at least private, or as private as possible, but even private feels exposed when you're staying with someone else's people. There's dinner at the table. Cortney's dad cracks jokes. Cortney's mom asks how he is, actually asks, not just polite inquiry. He smiles, says he's fine. Upstairs, he cries, texts Vanessa. Upstairs, he wonders whether she still thinks of him, whether she misses what they were, what could have been. 4. The emotional economy of dependency. Dependency weighs heavily, particularly emotional dependency. Staying in someone's home isn't just about the space, it's about owing something. Gratitude, embarrassment, guilt. You feel like you're intruding, even if every offer was voluntary, even if every gesture of kindness is genuine. You feel like paying rent with kindness or with apology just to keep the peace. Colt tries hard. He mows the lawn, washes the dishes, offers to help with homeschooling if there are kids. He tries to make himself useful, because otherwise, what is he? A burden. He doesn't want Cortney's parents to regret opening their home, so he over-apologizes, overcompensates. But kindness, when it comes from a place of guilt, can feel hollow. The real battle is inside, forgiving himself, finding independence, not because he wants Vanessa back, but because he wants to stand on his own 2 feet again. Vanessa's view. Meanwhile, Vanessa is watching, maybe not every day, but often. She sees the shift. She hears stories that Colt's staying with Cortney's parents. She sees it on social media. Someone posts a picture of Colt helping carry groceries. Someone hears him voice over on a show, saying he's trying to pick up the pieces. Does it sting? Of course. Breakups sting. Love doesn't go quietly. She wonders if he's doing this to prove something to the public, to himself, to her. She wonders if there's regret. Maybe there is, or maybe there's relief. She wonders what he's become since the arguments stopped, since the leaving. But Vanessa also knows that this was a mutual unraveling. She knows she's not blameless. This isn't about blame so much anymore, it's about survival. 6. Cortney, the connector. The witness. Cortney is in the middle. A friend once, now something more ambiguous. Maybe more than a friend in some ways. She's loyal to Vanessa, was loyal, still is, in many ways. And yet, she has compassion for Colt. She sees him changed, broken, human. Cortney's caught between wanting to protect Vanessa's heart, wanting to support Colt's healing. She offers quiet words in the hallway. She checks on both. When they allow, she listens, without judging. For Cortney, this moment holds tension because people will talk. Social media will spin narratives. Friends will pick sides. But Cortney, maybe, is trying to find a third path: kindness. 7. The tension of public display in the 90-day fiancé world. Nothing ever stays private for long. Every move is on camera. Every whisper can become headline. Colt staying with his ex's friend's parents? That's juicy. Every scene becomes fodder for speculation. Did Vanessa kick him out? Is he trying to get back at her? Are they going to reconcile? Did Colt burn bridges? Did Vanessa? Colt is aware. He sees the feeds. He feels the eyes. Sometimes it feels like the worst part isn't the breakup, it's the way people watch your pain, eager for a reaction. Social media is not kind. It demands drama. It demands headlines. It seldom demands growth. So Colt lies low, helps fix Cortney's dad's fence, laughs when Cortney's mom serves too much food, tries to be part of the family unit, though he knows he's an outsider. 8. Day by day, the slow climb. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It's not a montage. It's steps, tiny ones. Morning, Colt wakes up, lingers in bed too long, maybe checks his phone for messages. Some nights he wakes sweating after nightmares. He tries to meditate. He tries to write journals for 10 minutes, gratitude lists, pain lists. Midday, he helps in the yard. He cooks lunch. He listens to a podcast about relationships. He remembers his friends. Sometimes he texts them. Sometimes he deletes the message before sending. Afternoon, he naps. He scrolls social media. Wonders what Vanessa is doing. He picks up a craft, woodworking, maybe, something with his hands, something that grounds him. Evening, dinner under polite conversation. Sometimes it's loud laughter, football games, TV shows, sometimes silence thick enough to choke. Then he retreats into his bedroom, reads, prays, dreaming of forgiveness, mostly from himself. 9. Possible futures. What now? What could come next? 1. Reconciliation, impossible? Maybe not. For some couples there's a second act. They might try therapy. They might rebuild trust. But if they do, it can't happen while Colt is living in someone else's home, lingering in memories and what-ifs. Reconciliation would require physical, emotional distance first, then cautious rebuilding. 2. Moving out. This seems inevitable. Colt can't stay here forever. He'll need to move into his own space, find his own job or hustle enough, rediscover independence. The parents' house can be a rest stop, but not a final destination.